All right, welcome everybody. It's your host with the most, Odilicious, Alchemy Healing Academy in the building. As always, let's raise the roof, get pumped up. Show me your dance moves. Who got dance moves? Whoa, whoa. All right, beautiful stuff. So today we were talking about this beautiful book, Wetiko, the psycho-spiritual mind virus that's plaguing the world. Super deep subject, arguably the deepest subject that we're going to talk about in this program. Anybody who's watching the recording later, if you want to join the Alchemy Healing Academy, please hit me up. Also, during the presentation, I'm going to be sharing with you guys, we're giving special access to the Shadow Awakening video course. Okay, we usually charge $500 for it. We're going to have a special discount for people who are in this group and in this call. And so please let me know. So we got to pay some bills here. And we want to build this tribe. If you want to join the Alchemy Healing Academy, we're doing a special discount for that as well. So please check me out, hit me up, and let me know if you'd like to join. A lot of you guys on this call are already in that group. But let's share the screen and get things rocking. Today, like I said, Wetiko, the psycho-spiritual mind virus. Can you guys see my screen? Beautiful. I just got to move a couple things around here so I can see y'all, and then I can see the chat box. So as I mentioned before we started the recording, if you have something you'd like to share, just share it in the chat box, because I will be keeping an eye on that and looking at that occasionally. I'm just setting it up so I can see you guys on my other screen here. And the goal is to get this done in about 45 minutes and make lots of magic happen. So before we get started, just want everyone to take just 3 big deep breaths. So big inhale, just get into your body, big inhale. Big exhale. Big inhale. Big exhale. And one more big inhale. Big exhale. That was also for me too. All right, so all right, letting some more people in. All right, so what we got today is the psycho-spiritual mind virus. All right, so I'm hitting play one more time. You guys all see my screen? Yes. All right, beautiful. All right, so the key thing here is understand that today is a very deep subject, but arguably, in my opinion, this is the most important presentation that I will do in this group. My goal is to get this shared with as many people as possible, because who here agrees that the world is facing massive darkness right now? Raise your hand. The world is facing massive darkness. Also, and when I go into this stuff, it's going to be pretty dark today. At the end of the presentation, the darkness. Please mute yourself. Thank you. We'll let people show up late. Make sure you're muted. Thank you. So, so yeah, the key thing here, got to reconnect myself. So the key thing here is understanding that the darkness revealed the light. This is the Alchemy Healing Academy. And the essence of this is we have to go into the darkness. We have to go into the roots, and those roots actually reveal and grow the branches to the tree. Okay. So just keep that in mind as we're going through this stuff today. So this book, Wetiko, Healing the Mind Virus, there's this wonderful little quote here. Paul Levy's story is a gift to us all. Like, this is really like Larry Dossier. I actually read this guy's book too. He's this amazing healer. And this guy here, for those of you who haven't checked out the chat box, yeah, I got you, Curtis. I'm in presentation mode. I got you. Is that he has so much content, and there's literally multiple books that he's written, actually 3 different books, and he created this other beautiful book on quantum revelation. Now, anybody here who's read my book, the first chapter talks about quantum thinking, because we have to understand how the quantum reality works. But people talk about spirituality and woo-woo. It's all been proven in science. It's literally all been proven in science, and just people don't know it yet because humanity is still dreaming ourselves asleep, and this Wetiko virus has taken over. Now, as I mentioned, everything that we're sharing today is extremely powerful in that the seed of light is within this darkness, but we're going to learn how to navigate that today. And you see these great books, Awakened by Darkness, great book. My father actually shared this, When Evil Becomes Your Father. My father told me about this, Quantum Revelation. And his latest book, which just came out, Undreaming Wetiko. I've not actually read that one yet. Now, let's start getting into what is Wetiko. So, it's a contagious psycho-spiritual disease of the soul, a parasite of the mind, currently being acted out in mass in society, creating a collective psychosis of titanic proportions. cannibalistic in nature, driving ourselves, driving consumption of ourselves. Like literally, this is what is happening right now on this planet, and it's ridiculous. It's a psycho spiritual mind virus. Okay, the virus of the mind was coined by Native Americans to explain the unconscious blind spots in the human psyche. So when Western settlers came here, like we have these American Indians, right? And they're like living in harmony with nature. Like they would kill an animal and they would honor it and love it. And then all these Western settlers like, wow, look at all these animals. And they go, bing, 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 bing. Like, oh, we killed them all. Great, let's go build a house. Let's build 5 houses. Oh, I got 6 houses. There's not enough. I need to have more. Oh my God. And they're like just completely insane. And like you look at the world today, there's like these, like, not that all billionaires are bad, but like, I can't own enough stuff. Oh my God, I can't have enough sex. I can't put enough cocaine up my nose. I'm completely going crazy. It's like, and like everyone else is suffering. I can't see it because I can't look at my shadow. So that's what's happening on the planet. And so Wetiko is hitting its peak. But when Wetiko hits its peak, that's the greatest opportunity for awakening. And you'll see that more and more as we get through this presentation. Did you guys like my animation there? I'm trying to make this funny for you guys. This is some deep shit, right? Some deep shit. So what happens is this renders people oblivious to their own madness and compelling them to act out of their own self-interest, destroying themselves and the planet to serve their ego. It's basically like you're satanically like, oh yeah, my ego's the greatest. Everyone wishes they were me. It's like it's completely batshit insane. So it is essentially a sickness of the spirit, an inner cancer of the mind in society that is oblivious to its cannibalistic nature, feeding off our soul essence. For those of you who have been studying alchemy with me in the past month, right, past 2 months, our Jing, you guys remember our Jing? It's right here, right? Money doesn't matter. It's our Jing. It's your soul. I was actually listening to the song Smile by Tupac. You guys like, who likes Tupac? Tupac's the bomb, baby. He actually used to live here in the Bay Area. And there was a part of the song Smile. He says, protect your essence. Protect your essence. And that's what we're doing in this Alchemy Healing Academy. We're teaching you guys how to protect your essence, okay? Because that's what this what Tico's doing. It's feeding on our soul. Like it doesn't matter how much money you have. If your soul is being weakened, oh boy, you're in trouble. Got to protect your essence, my people, and smile. So with Tico and shadow work, a lot of this has to do with shadow. I like the dance moves, Carrie. Thank you. So light that wants to shine, needs darkness. Stars don't shine without darkness. Do you see roots of a tree? Like I have a tree in my backyard here. Sometimes I just, I'm having a rough day. I sit in my backyard and I look at this tree, and like it used to be a huge tree. We cut the crap out of it, but it's a mat. The trunk is huge and just keeps growing back. It keeps growing back. You know why? Because the roots are very strong. The roots. And that's what we're doing with shadow work. You're just growing great roots. A lot of people are like, why isn't my dreams manifesting? It's like you didn't grow strong enough roots. So get over your ego. Sorry. Like it's just like some of you guys are struggling. I'm like, how do I grow this business? I got to grow roots. I'm in no rush. We're here to grow roots. That's what we're doing. I'm not here with this community. It takes time. It takes effort. You got to work hard. We got to work on our dance moves. Like Carrie, I love the dance moves, Carrie. So light never burns more brightly than when it has to fight. It is as though darkness gives birth to light. It is as though darkness gives birth to light. Thank you, darkness. Oh my God, darkness is scary. Most people are running away from their shadow, and they're delivering themselves into Wetiko's hands. Their soul is being fed to Wetiko, but they're doing it themselves because they don't know what Wetiko is. They don't know what shadow work is. And they're living in the space of complete unconsciousness. That's why this presentation and delivering this message is absolutely crucial for the awakening of humanity, because the only way we wake up is realizing that we're asleep. And that's where most of humanity is at. That's why we built this Alchemy Healing Academy, to teach this ancient wisdom. The descent into darkness always means discovering our light. If we do not acknowledge or see our darkness, we deliver ourselves into its hands. And that is essentially what's happening in the world. It's not government's fault. It's not religion's fault. It's not pharmaceutical companies' fault. It's our fault. It's me. I am asleep. That's what we got to do. You got to be really hard on yourselves. When you guys in this group, you're working on yourselves. But when we talk to the people who are struggling, right? They're like, it's everyone else's fault. Yeah. It's like, fuck, oh my God, do some inner child work and stop acting like a child. I'm being kind of harsh, because some people are really struggling, but they don't know how to do the work. And that's why we have this community, so that I can be a guide to supporting you with your inner work, and you go out there and teach other people. As I mentioned at the end, we're going to talk about how you get access to the Shadow Awakening video course, which goes right along with my book. And it's not like I'm trying to just sell you guys stuff. I'm so passionate about teaching this to as many people as possible so they can do their inner work. Okay, that's what this is all about. So the only way to avoid confrontation with the shadow is to live in eternal darkness. And this is where much of humanity is right now. Who agrees? Most of humanity, they're living in dark. Like, I'm so happy. I wake up each day and I take my pill and I go to my job that I hate. And then I come home and I watch TV and I see all these people on TV. I'm never going to live a life like them because I'm so fucking high and unconscious. But I'm trying to joke around, but that's where most people are. That's where most people are. Right. So they have to actually, but here's the thing, they don't know how to do this shadow work. That's why what we're doing here is so crucial and so beautiful. Our blindness to our shadow is extremely dangerous. Our blindness to our blindness is one of the chief features of Wetiko's control over us. It wants to keep us blind. So, and whenever you're like, I call myself on this, like something that I struggle with is a fear of being seen. So when I feel that, I'm like, oh, that's just Wetiko, that bitch. I gotta work through that. That's just an aspect of Wetiko, fearing myself, right? So it's the embodiment, the alchemization of those parts of ourselves that we were struggling with. That is where the real change happens. And it's not easy to do, guys. It's not easy to do, but that's why we're here in this community, in this group. So you guys liking these pictures and everything? Did Curtis do a good job? Quick round of applause for Curtis. Thank you, Curtis. Fucking legend, bro. Fucking legend. And it's going to get better. This is just the beginning. It's just going to keep getting better. So Wetiko is the collective psychosis, a true virus of the mind that's plaguing society. And sometimes when I'm around other people who are really unconscious, it doesn't affect me as much. Like, I've done this presentation a few times, but each time I do it, I'm like, oh my God, like look at all these mother truckers. They got Wetiko. They don't even know it, you know? So like, it's, do your best to have a sense of humor. Sometimes you're around people and they're so addicted to their suffering because they don't know who they are. They're living in a completely unconscious state. Instead of like judging them, just observe, wow, you're really stuck with yourself and you don't really know who you are because you haven't done your work. So like, this is a great place to have compassion for people. Okay. Now, humanity essentially is truly blind to this disease which plagues us, as it is not seen nor is it measurable from a scientific perspective. And this is what we call the collective shadow. So much of Western society is trauma-based insanity. Let me say that again. Much of it is trauma-based insanity, okay? So what we have to realize is that that's where a lot of people are like, they're all popping all these pills because they don't know how to face this stuff. It's based on excessive competition, which completely disconnects us from our soul and feeding the virus. Welcome, Mary. Make sure you mute yourself, please. Thank you. So let's keep rocking here. So the very basic framework of Wetiko is the unconsciousness that keeps humanity in the darkness created by not examining our shadow. This is why, like you guys, I wrote my book, Shadow Awakening. I did it because I want you all to think I'm the world's greatest author and buy all my books so I can buy an island in Fiji, like I'm Tony Robbins. No, I did not do that. I don't want to buy an island in Fiji. I do want to build a retreat center, but I wrote this book because I feel like this is one of the most important aspects of us in our healing journey, so people can learn the tools of shadow work, right? It's not about my ego, it's about people facing their own ego, and I'm just here to be a guide and supporting people with connecting with their hearts. So some of you guys have worked with me, you felt that, you've experienced that. That's why we're here. So shadow projections. Okay, this presentation is so rich. So the shadow projects itself externally so that it can remain hidden. I still struggle occasionally with shadow projections. I'm like, oh, like that thing over there, it's pissing me off. Like, oh wait, that's my anger. You know, it still happens to me, guys. I'm not perfect either. You know, I'm still working on this. I'd like, oh, that's my shadow. You can like recognize those parts of yourself you still need to work on. The shadow is always where your eyes are not. It works through our blind spots to keep us unconscious, entranced by our own delusions. Make sure you're taking notes, guys. I'm dropping wisdom bombs out here. Wisdom bombs. All right. Seeing the world through the lens of the shadow, we perceive it as everything that's happening out there. It's not happening in here. It's happening out there. Because what we're doing when we're not operating from a quantum model, we feel separate. That makes us feel alone and afraid and scared. And then like our energy is weak. It's low vibrational. It's basically loosh for dark energy to feed on, right? So we have to acknowledge that darkness and face it within ourselves. We typically avoid the shadow as long as we can conventionally project it into someone else. It's not me, it's them. This is often how most wars are begun, right? Look at all the war happening in the world. It's like they're taking our resources. We need to attack them. Their religion's different than ours. Like they have different political beliefs. We need to attack them. It's like, can you face yourselves, right? Like, go do a microdose in the woods, bro. Like, I know Mo feels me on that. Go face yourself. Do some inner work. All right, so shadow work continued. The shadow has two aspects, okay? The personal dimension having to do with our own wounds and our ability to respond to its traumatizing effects. Then this is the key point, you guys. Then there is the universal collective shadow, the collective darkness. So we have to be able to understand that this is why I'm on this call. That's why I'm doing this presentation. Every one of you that does your shadow work, it heals the collective shadow. When you get my book or you do my video course, you actually dive into like doing this work. It's like the roots of a tree. We're all connected. It's just like your roots, the roots of a tree. Your nervous system is like the roots of a tree. We're all interconnected in this quantum field. That's why I'm teaching this stuff, so we can teach more people to actually do this work. The shadow can be thought of as being the inferior part of everyone's personality, the darker half of the human totality, humanity's worst danger. I just like a lot of this is taken straight out of the book. It is such absolute gold here. Shedding light on our darkness magically empowers us to be able to deal with the evil that exists in the outside world. We're not going to face darkness out here until we face it in here. That's why when I see people struggling, like, you're not struggling with that war across the world. You're struggling with something inside of yourself. And then I get the fact that we can't control things happening, but we can control ourselves. And if you learn to harmonize your nervous system, because the powers that be, they don't want us to do this. They want us to be just blind, dumb slaves. Like, oh my God, can you print more banknotes so I can pretend that I have wealth? It's like, we gotta be real about this, guys. So alchemy is essentially as within, so without, as above, so below. That's the essence of this. I know you're digging that, Nicholas. I do my best to make this funny because this is some dark ass shit, man. Like, we got to laugh through all this. Got to enjoy the journey. So each person doing, like, we're going to talk about this a few times here. Each person doing shadow work collectively heals the planet's consciousness. This is why doing your inner work is crucial to humanity. So, like I was talking before we got in the call, gently shaming people. So when you don't do your meditation practice, you're actually harming the entire planet. So, like, I mean, I'm joking, but I'm not. Each time you do your inner work, you're actually healing the whole planet. So no pressure, guys. No pressure. Right? In the community, our goal is a minimum of 24 minutes a day, 1 minute for each hour of the day of meditation, breath work, or grounding, or a combination of the three. I think it's the simplest thing. I don't do it every day. I fail some days too because I'm busy making all this cool shit for you guys. But at the same time, the more we do that, the more we make that consistent, the more you're actually healing the collective of humanity. So, no, like I said, no pressure. But it's more about yourself because your connection to the field. And then as you're calm, you can deal with all these people suffering from Wetiko a lot better. You guys feel me on that? Raise your hand. You feel me? Right? That's why we do. Why am I doing my inner work? Oh, I'm healing the collective shadow of humanity. Oh, maybe I should sit on a meditation pillow and shut my mouth and connect to my body. Right? I say that to myself, like, Odie, shut up and just go meditate. Anybody else do that? You're like, can I just shut up? And like, blah, blah, blah. Did I think about that thought enough? Like, bro, calm down. All right, so shadow work and alchemy. So the shadow contains within itself the seed of enantiotremia, a conversion into its opposite. That's a powerful word for you guys to write down. Enantiotremia, okay? The changing of something into its opposite. Very powerful word. Keep going here. Try to let somebody in. All right, so welcome, John. Just make sure you mute yourself, my friend. All right, so it is the purification or philosopher's stone which we seek. The shadow world of the unconscious becomes a divine furnace for purification. And my logo, our logo here for this tribe, is the philosopher's stone. Okay, it is the philosopher's stone. It's essentially, long story short, it's connecting with our higher self, bringing your soul fully into your body. In the East, in Taoist philosophy, the reason why people get sick because they have suppressed, repressed, or denied emotions. And next week, for people who are in the program, we're going to be doing an exercise called feeding your demons. Some of you, like Carrie's actually done this exercise with me. And the key thing here is understanding, right, that our repressed, suppressed, and denied emotions, those are our inner demons. They're actually running our lives from our unconscious mind. And that is what's feeding Wetiko. That's why doing this unconscious work, working with our unconscious mind, is arguably the most important thing you can do. Because back to my point about the Tao, the whole thing with Taoist philosophy and alchemy is if your soul is embodied, you will not get sick. If you do get sick, you'll heal faster. If you get shot with an arrow back in the day, you'll heal in a fraction of the time, because it's all about becoming a Taoist immortal. And you will not become a Taoist immortal if you're suppressing all this emotional energy. My personal belief is that rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, heart disease, cancer, those are all manifestations of suppressed emotions. Personal opinion. Anybody else agree with that? Yeah, I see you, Mary. Right? It's like, and that, I went through this too, you guys, just to like touch on my stories. Like, I had all this pain in my back, spent $20,000 on Western medicine, and things, oh, it kind of worked. That drug numbed it for a little bit. Like, oh, that chiropractic stuff kind of helped. And I was in massive depression. And it wasn't until I found the healing arts and I started facing, my emotional trauma, which I won't get into right now, that things started to shift. Extremely powerful. Yeah, that's right, Mel. Everything physical starts in the metaphysical. And that's why we're doing this group, because we're doing our best. Like, my goal for everyone in this group is to teach you how to become a master healer. That's why you guys are paying to be a part of this group, because it's about accountability, making sure you're putting the time in to watch these videos, putting the time in to show up for this community, right? And that's the whole goal here, is to teach you all how to be master healers so you can go out and take this wisdom and share it with the people who are ready. And not everybody's ready, and that's okay. All right, that was a good little tangent, but let's keep going. So in alchemy, this is the prima materia, or the materia prima, as it's written sometimes, or raw material to discover our gold in the darkness. It's essentially turning lead into gold. In this way, Wetiko offers us a gift, the opportunity to awaken a seed within the darkness. This comes back to like that last slide, remember, innatio tremia. The essence of shadow work is going into the darkness, into that dark cave. Oh my God, it's scary in this dark cave. It's so dark. And then you get into the cave, like, oh fuck, there's gold in here. Now you're rich, bitch. Like, actually, like, it's all there, baby. So alchemizing the shadow. And I love this book because it goes into alchemy, it goes into shadow work, it goes into blanking on the Kabbalah as well. It goes into all this stuff, a lot of stuff that I'm reading this book. I'm like, wow, I'm already teaching all of this. Like, how do I market this better so more people can get in this group, right? So alchemy is the art of turning lead into gold, that which is metal and that which is mental into gold. I'll say that again, that which is metal, that's the external, and that which is mental into gold, the transmutation, the mutation and transformation, okay? The transcendence, the end of the trance that humanity is in. That is why we were doing this work. It is only by attending to the darkness within ourselves and making it conscious that we become secure in our attainment of the gold and wake up. Very important here, guys. Discovery of the true self, aka the Mysterium Conjunctionis. Okay, we went over alchemy last month in this group, and I can't wait to go back into it even deeper. You can't even like you're not going to memorize this stuff in one session. Like when you guys are in the school, like that's why you need to watch some of those videos more than once. You're not going to master like I can't wait to get into Chinese face reading. You're not going to memorize that in one session. You're not going to memorize NLP, right? But the key thing here is the discovery of the true self. Next month, when we get into the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, I'm going to talk about this, the term Rigpa. It's the inner nature of the mind. That's where all the healing occurs. So back to the point here, discovery of the true self, aka the Mysterium Conjunctionis, is the conjoining of things typically seen as opposites, a truly whole and integrated personality. This is when you're operating with yin and yang. You have transcended duality. You no longer feel separate. You realize, like, oh, all this stuff happening out here is me. That's hard for our ego to recognize, but then it's extremely liberating. Liber means to free in Latin. You are liberated. You are free. You have freed yourself. When we see in being able to embrace our dark side, we become more complete. Harmony of yin and yang within ourselves. This is like magical, guys. Like I'm not saying I perfected this, but I'm able to realize like, oh, I'm triggered. Oh, that's partially just me. I'm co-creating this. I attracted this person into my life. Okay. This trauma that I experienced, I am co-creating it. Okay. Taking responsibility for our darker half takes away the burden of darkness from our unconscious. If you don't think you have a dark side, that's just you being asleep. It's like, I don't have an ego. I don't have a dark side. Like, stay away from someone like that, boy. Ooh, like we got to be honest. Like examples, like I've said this before, like some people in the spiritual community, like everything is love and light, guys. Let's go prance around in the woods naked and just friend, like everything's gonna be fine. It's all good, guys. And like, no, like not that dancing naked in the woods is bad, but like, you gotta make sure you actually sit your ass in the ground and connect with those trees and feel your heart and reconnect with your soul. That's what this is really about. Now I'm thinking about dancing naked in the woods. I'm gonna go run in the rain later and dance naked. All right. So alchemizing the shadow. Encountering and alchemizing the shadow is not for the faint of heart. It is not. It is not easy work. That's why we have this community, support each other. It involves the disillusionment of illusions about both the world and ourselves. I'm gonna read that again because it's so beautiful. Encountering and alchemizing the shadow is not for the faint of heart. It involves the disillusionment of illusions about both the world and ourselves. The shadow can only begin to be integrated when it is grasped, not merely intellectually, but understood and experienced according to its feeling values. Now, one of the things that I talk about in my book is that when you finally face your shadow, it's essentially like Bruce Wayne just after he lost his parents. You are talking to the most wounded parts of yourself. That's why this is not easy work. You're facing the darkest parts of yourself, right? So you have to be very gentle. This is part of the embodiment. Like the dark side of the yin yang is the feminine. Like whether you're a male or female, you have to embody the feminine is the nurturer. In much of our society, like you look at certain cultures, they won't even let women show their bodies because they're so terrified of the feminine. We got to control the feminine, right? And it's just like, that's part of the damage we have in society. We have to embody the feminine. We could, like, I've actually had coaches say, like, there was a point in history where we were out of balance in the feminine. Right now, we're out of balance in the masculine. They need to be coagulated. That's the essence here. They need to be coagulated. Whether you're male or female, you have to work on your feminine side. That's the healer. The masculine is the warrior. The feminine is the healer. We need to be able to embody both. The way to our true self is through the shadow. This is the prima materia, the true gold hidden within the depths of our psyche and shadow. That beautiful picture. Goddess vibes. Goddess. You all have a goddess within you. So Curtis found this awesome picture. I thought it was a picture of me, the purple dude. I thought it kind of looked like me. So having someone to project our shadow onto is helpful in a perverse sort of way, as it temporarily shields us from having to look at our own evil and consciously feel our own guilt. That's heavy, right? I'll read it again. Having someone to project our shadow onto is helpful in a perverse sort of way, as it temporarily shields us from having to look at our own evil or consciously feel our own guilt. Guilt and shame are some of the most deep emotions that people experience in their shadow. That's the two primary emotions that people struggle with. Guilt and shame. I am guilty. I need to shame myself. And you're stuck in that. I need to shame myself. And then like you're like missing out on your life. Your whole life is happening. And I say that this is why we have to do the shadow work. We have to like face the shame, transmute the shame. And like now you're no longer missing out on the beautiful life that you had, right? YOLO, bro. You only live once. So enjoy your life. Let's work on that shadow. So the psyche, Wetiko, is essentially a neurosis of the Western mind, a virus affecting our psyche or psychology. And psyche means the soul, mind, spirit, or invisible animating entity that occupies the physical body. So what I've said before when we talk about alchemy and talking about Chinese face reading, whenever you look at somebody, this is something I've done myself. And like when I'm out in the world and I'm like working with people, like look people right in the eyes. Is the Shen present? Look them right in the eyes. Get them to the point where you can look them and like, come here. I want you to come here. Look in my eyes. Just look them right in the eyes. Is the Shen present? And if it's not, be careful with that person. Be very careful. Look them right. Can you see the Shen? Shen means fire. If they don't see the fire in their eyes, be very careful with that person. Just a little warning for you guys. Be conscious of that because the soul may not be present in that person. Somebody who's done a lot of drugs or they've used a lot of alcohol or they've had trauma, the Shen may not be present. Okay. And then that's just like a little gentle but serious warning for you guys. I use that more. I'm like, I used to be like happy go lucky. Everyone's on my team. We're all here to heal the world. I'm like, whoa, why are people treating me this way? Like some people aren't really present, you know? So an unintegrated shadow or fractured psyche, fractured soul, it impairs our ability to operate from the quantum realm because the virus is basically the unintegrated aspects of the ego. We become hypnotized by being in service to self, which is the false self, rather than serving the collective of humanity. And the Buddha said, it's like, if you're going to be, like Buddhists say, that if you're going to be attached to anything, just be attached to your service to humanity. And that's what I love being here. I love sharing this with you guys. I really like, I love what I'm doing. I hope you guys can feel my passion, because I love sharing this with you guys. It's beautiful. And like, as I mentioned, my goal is to grow this group and reach more people. And so many people need this wisdom desperately. In all truth, we are at the beginning stages of even fully understanding our own psychology. The deeper we go into understanding our true nature, the more we can expose these darker sides of our psyche or soul that are infecting people unconsciously. We must do our inner work first. And that's what we're doing here in the Alchemy Healing Academy. Most people would consider it crazy to even imagine a psycho-spiritual disease of the mind, but this can also be seen as a reflection or shadow keeping our darkness hidden. This is that part that we must realize is the unconscious aspect. We are unaware of our unconsciousness. Like when you try and talk about this with certain people, they're like, psycho-spiritual mind virus, like, I'm gonna go eat some Taco Bell and smoke a cigarette and like watch Desperate Housewives. Oh my God, why would I care about that? Like, just like, oh my God, like, cool. I've learned, like, like, I'm not gonna waste my time with people like that. Like, wow, that's really cool. Enjoy your Taco Bell and cigarettes and like whatever it is. Like, that's just where they're at, and that's okay. And I'm just joking around, guys. I just want to make this more fun. So, the dangers of an unconscious mind. Okay, and like, just use these tools like when you're out there around people and in the community and whatnot. An unconscious mind is easily prone to deception via suggestion. Some of you guys in this program, we have NLP, one of the primary courses in the school, which I highly, if you have watched it, I would say if you have watched it, watch it again, okay? Because NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, it's being used by politicians, it's being used by preachers, it's being used by people who want to mind fuck you. They want to mind fuck you. I'm sorry for the use of that word, but oh boy, that is what they want to do. And that's what's happening. Mass psychosis, because it's tell lie vision, okay? You need to learn how to discern truth, okay? Learn how this is happening in the world, because a lot of people are not aware that it's happening. Not sufficiently knowing the nature of the mind, these people easily fall prey to other people's perspectives and groupthink or herd thinking. And like, I'm not really that into politics, but it's like you see people just blindly following, whether it's Trump or Biden. It's just like they're not even thinking. There's like, oh my God, this politician said this, so I'm going to do what he says. Like we need to learn to think for ourselves to discern truth. Now, due to trauma, this is the thing. Like some people also, right? They have trauma, and this is what fragmented their psyche, so they easily fall into this group thing. So due to trauma or a fragmented psyche, we may lose our psyche or soul's boundaries, leaving us susceptible to self-sabotaging thoughts, which can lead to addictions, self-harm, and ultimately disease or death. That's why we're doing this group. That's why I created this group, you guys. Like, before starting this program, I have 20,000 hours of experience. I started to realize, as many of you know, I was a fitness coach. Like, I can make your butt look great. I've helped people lose thousands of pounds. I'm an expert at teaching fitness. But the truth is, we need to get down to the root cause of people's pain. People are unconscious. That's why I give you the perfect diet program. But if you subconsciously hate yourself, you're still going to find ways to sabotage your diet, right? So just examples. And this is the true key here: lack of gnosis of the true mind. And gnosis means knowledge in Greek. So gnosis, like hypnosis, diagnosis, right? We need to understand the roots of what knowledge truly is. I can't wait to get into the trivia method in this group too. We'll be doing that probably next year at some point. So splintered or fragmented aspects of the self or psyche begin to live a seemingly independent, autonomous life of their own through us. And this is Wetiko. So like, I've worked with shamans, okay? And one of the things they do is like, there's a fragmented aspect of your soul. And I've done this work through NLP and like with my shamanic training as well, is teaching people how to work with that fragmented aspect of the soul and re-embodying it. Super crucial. Some of you guys in this group are super powerful healers too. Many of you will surpass me in the work that I'm doing. But the whole goal here is to teach people how to reintegrate those fragmented aspects of our psyche. And remember, psyche means soul in Greek. So psychology is the study of the soul. That's essentially what we're doing in this group. All right, so unconscious self-destruction. So we can unconsciously turn upon ourselves. Powerful point here. Live, spelled backwards, is evil. Live, spelled backwards, is evil. When we live unconsciously, we destroy ourselves with our own evil. And that's what many people are doing because they're not even conscious of this. This is the essence of the Wetiko psycho-spiritual virus, acting itself out through us. The more we do not see the power of the unconscious, the greater its power over us. We blindly follow, unquestionably, like mindless slaves. And look around. This is Wetiko is hitting its peak, and it's the greatest thing. Yay, Wetiko! Yay, Wetiko! Now you can wake up. That's why we have this group. That's why we're doing this. It's like, oh my God, it's so scary. This is the most beautiful opportunity, you guys. That's why we got to do our work. Wetiko, or our shadow, can literally take us over and possess us unconsciously. Remember what I told you? You look at people, look for the Shen in people's eyes. Look for that Shen. Very important. Evidence is present within our history where people who were following orders carried out very dark acts of harm to others, a race, a species, or a group. You know, you look at like the Nazis, but like, I mean, honestly, when I went to Cambodia and I heard about the genocide in Cambodia, like a lot of this shit is buried in our history. No one wants to talk about that stuff. Or you look at like, I read this one book on the veterans from Vietnam, because like these guys went to Vietnam and like it was really traumatizing, and they came home and like a lot of people were against the war, so they just buried all that trauma into themselves, and then they had kids and passed it on to their children. And that's a lot of us in this group who probably experienced that from our, and like it was buried into our DNA because they didn't even know what PTSD was until 1980. Like when I was younger, I'm like, damn, these baby boomers, what is wrong with these guys? And then I started to learn about this, and I had so much more compassion. I'm like, oh, they're fucked up and they don't even know it because they don't even know how to heal. And that really opened my heart up a lot. Like when I meet people who are really struggling, I know I make a lot of jokes, you know, I want to make this fun, but there's a lot of really messed up people, and we have to have compassion for them deeply, because like a lot of people, they don't know how to heal. Like I'm still learning as I teach you guys, you know. That's why we have this community, support more people to learn the healing arts, because this is all we're teaching is ancient wisdom. It's just been forgotten because pharmaceutical companies want to own everything and basically patent our soul. That they can't do it, bitches. All right, so healing the unconscious wound. The first step is accepting that we are co-creating this mind virus. The awareness of that begins the process of setting us free. We have to acknowledge it. Everyone in this group, you all suffer from Wetiko, including me. Like you got to accept that on some level. Maybe not you so much because you've worked on yourself, but your mom, your dad, your uncle, your cousin Larry. My folks are boomers and they suffer from things they have no idea about. Yeah, Alicia, I feel you. That's why like this support group is so crucial, because we like, you know, I struggle with this. You know, I'm out in the world, like I'm a very confident dude, but I'm like, sometimes I just look at people like, it was like, wow, like it's just tough sometimes to be around these people, especially because I'm highly empathic. Who are in this group's empathic? Right? Pretty much everybody. Right? It's not easy, but that's why we have this group, to learn these tools, to understand this. So Wetiko, this is the beautiful, we're starting into like, how do we heal this stuff? So Wetiko is powerless to control our true nature. It's powerless. The nature of the mind, but we must connect to it. We must connect to it. Now, we have been conned into believing we're all separate, skin-encapsulated egos, but this is precisely what keeps us stuck in the third dimensional reality. We're stuck in this 3D. We have to transcend consciousness and operate from this fifth dimensional consciousness. I'm not going to get into that right now, but really 5D is just, to me, like it's just a fancy word. It's really about operating from a quantum level of consciousness. Right? As I mentioned, it's the first chapter of my book talking about that. So duality creates an experience of separation and fear arising, mutually reinforcing each other. This is why we get stuck in a fear and trauma-based reality. So when you're experiencing fear, you're just stuck in duality. I still experience fear, guys, but you're just stuck in duality. When I say that, it's a key point for you to recognize that that's just Wetiko. It's a way for your logical brain to reframe it. Like, oh, that's fear. Oh, it's Wetiko. I'm experiencing fear. Like, there's no fear in the present moment, right? If you're really in the present moment, there's no fear. Listen, if you're really in the present moment, there is no fear. It's a vibration. You guys get that? I still feel fear sometimes, but the more present I am, the more grounded. It can just move through you. As I've said in the Taoist philosophy, when you experience emotions, you want to be like a tree that moves in the wind. Allow the emotions to move through you. Allow the emotions to move through. If you try and fight the emotions, that's when you're too much in your masculine and the branches break and you start to break down. I love that analogy. I've shared that many times in this group. It's so beautiful. That's why I love Taoist philosophy. It's very poetic and beautiful. So who is Shri Aurobindo? We're making pretty good time here. Probably get us done here in about 10 minutes. So who here has heard of Shri Aurobindo? Anybody? Okay, cool. We got a few people. Beautiful stuff. So Shri Aurobindo, I've studied a little bit of his work. So he's a visionary and philosophical teacher. Remember, philosophical is philo is love, Sophia is wisdom. Considered to be one of the most highly spiritual geniuses of modern times. He wrote The Divine Life, The Synthesis of Yoga, nominated for Nobel Prizes in literature. So this guy's a badass. Straight up, I'm trying to sell you. This guy's a badass. All right. So he spoke of the Wetiko virus and hostile forces. I was actually listening to the Paul Levy recording, which I put in the group chat at the very top. And he talked about this too. Even Jung, he didn't call it Wetiko, but Jungian psychology, Carl Jung, he had a different name for it. So people have been aware of this for a long time. Okay. Like I just wake up one day and make this up, y'all. So with hostile forces, okay, this is some good shit right here. So the hostile forces are powers of darkness who are in revolt against the light and truth and want to keep this world under their control with darkness and ignorance. Whenever anyone wants to reach the truth, to realize the divine, to realize the divine, they stand in the way as much as possible. So they always try to destroy the work as a whole and to spoil the sadhana, which is spiritual practice, of each sadhak, which is the practitioner. And we'll talk later. I'll have Curtis come on and talk about what happened to him when he was creating this presentation. We won't do that yet. We'll come on at the end. So Shri Aurobindo and the hostile forces. It's just straight out of the book here, guys. Hostile forces who oppose divine intention and the evolutionary purpose of the human being. They wish to make the ignorance reign in our world. They wish to make ignorance reign in our world. The more unconscious you are, the more susceptible you are to attacks. You become like an unconscious programmed robot enslaved by Wetiko. A lot of society is struggling with that right now. Unconscious enslaved Wetiko robots. These hostile forces create brain fog. In my book, I talk about brain fog too, within the mind to keep you unconscious. They feed off of and into fear. Let me say that again, you guys. They feed off of and into fear. So when you're feeling fear, you're just becoming food for Wetiko. Yeah. So like am I feeling fear? No, that's food for dark forces. Right? That's why I have to learn. Then feeling fear isn't bad. Like if you're walking down the street and someone scares you, you know what I'm saying? Like it's fine. But if you're sitting there like, I can't make my dreams come true. You're just food, you know? So fear vibration resonates with their frequency. They love you. Oh my God, you're in fear. Yes, we get to eat. Oh my God, it's a buffet. You're all living in fear. Oh my God, it's like a Chinese buffet, but like way shittier. You know what I mean? So I like Chinese food, not to try and hate on Chinese food. All right, so defeating hostile forces, maintaining a connection to your heart. I'm going to slow down here. Maintaining a connection to your heart and structuring a means of awareness that allows you to step back and detach from unconscious behaviors. These forces are actually offering us a unique gift, the opportunity to connect with who we truly are, the nature of the mind. As I mentioned, Rigpa talks about that extensively in this book. We'll be doing this book next month. Tibetan Buddhism, Rigpa. Hostile forces work through your unconscious blind spots, which is why it's important to become conscious and recognize them. Keep your heart and mind connected in a space of loving awareness. This is one of the most important parts of the presentation. Love is kryptonite. Love is kryptonite to hostile forces. So be present with your heart and gut instincts. So the powers that be that run the world, they do not want you to love. They are doing all over the world. They do not want love. They can't control you if you are in a vibration of love. That's why this is so important for you to be in that space of love. Sometimes for me, when I'm having a rough day, I'll just lay in my bed or I'll sit and meditate and I just connect with my heart. Connect with my heart. Very simple practice you guys can do. So insanity or waking up. We're getting towards the end here, guys. Okay. Contained within the dark nature of Wetiko, as well as the shadow, is the seed to our enlightened mind. The seed to our enlightened mind. This insanity is brought about by our turning away from our own truth, the inner nature of the mind, as I mentioned, Rigpa in Tibetan Buddhism. This inner nature of the mind is like that of Tibetan Buddhism. It's making contact with the true self, making contact with our soul, our psyche. The important thing to remember is that the virus of Wetiko has the power within it to heal us, a medicinal power that can elicit the greatest awakening ever in the history of humanity. We have that available to us right now. Okay. If your mind goes, no, it can't happen, that's Wetiko right there. But that can't happen. Wetiko's got you. It's absolutely available to us. Probably now so more than ever because the darkness reveals the light. This goes hand in hand with facing our shadow. So our magic and blind power. I love this part. This is really good stuff. So we are blind to the incredible intrinsic power that we actually have to create our experience. Wetiko is essentially the me disease. It's all about me, myself, and I, right? Your separateness. It's a dis-ease. We have creative power beyond belief that we do not realize. Paradoxically, we are blind both to our powerlessness and powerfulness simultaneously. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear me? I want to make sure that you're like we have creative power beyond belief that we do not realize. Paradoxically, we are blind to both our powerlessness and our powerfulness simultaneously. That to me is arguably the most important part. Okay, that's why we have the Alchemy Healing Academy. Y'all are some powerful wizards, and you don't even fully know it yet. We are like wizards who do not know our own power. We have a hand in the conjuring up and reinforcing our own blindness at each moment. When we fall under Wetiko's spell, we become blind to our blindness, and this makes us unconscious and unaware that we are blind. I love teaching this. This is like, I'm having a lot of fun. You guys having fun? You guys having fun? Cool. Doing my best to make it fun for you guys. So another great quote from Paul Levy. In actuality, we are magicians, powerful beyond measure, having unconsciously misused our own power to bewitch ourselves, having fallen under a curse of our own making. Our task is to break out of this self-induced spell. Every time you use words, it's made up of spelling. When you make a paragraph, it's a parallel graph from your inner world that you're projecting into the external world. Is it your shadow or is it your true self? Good question to ask yourself. We are all casting spells every single day. We are all magicians. Now let's get into a little more about how to dream ourselves awake. The deeper issue which we must examine is that we are literally asleep at the wheel of our own existence. We are collectively living in a dream world that we create from a quantum level of consciousness or unconsciousness. It's just that most of us are unaware or unconscious of our unconsciousness, which leaves many people hopelessly unprepared and confused as to how this mind virus of our shadow is destroying ourselves, our families, and the planet. Some real stuff here, guys. The best and only way to defeat this unconscious virus is to face it head on within ourselves. As we heal our shadow, it heals the collective shadow. And this turns this nightmare into a dream. But we must do the work. Dreaming Through Darkness. It's actually a great book on shadow work too. Dreaming Through Darkness. Everyone you let's call, we're all living a dream. It's just like who here has like lucid dream before? You're like in a dream. My favorite dream, I love sharing this. I was in a dream and I was with my best friend. Like I was the best man in his wedding. He came into the dream and I don't remember, we were arguing. We were having an argument. And then I looked at him. I was like, this is a dream. I was like, fuck you. This is a dream. And I flew away. I just started flying. I love it. It was my favorite dream. I was like, fuck you. And I just flew away. I was like, we're in a dream, guys. We're in a dream. Your fear, you're scared, you're like my anger, my shame. It's like, oh my God, you're dreaming. It's a fucking dream. Oh my God. I still struggle too, guys, but I'm like, oh, it's just a dream. You're dreaming. You're wizards. I don't want to be a wizard. Yeah, you're a wizard. Sorry. So Coronavirus and Wetiko. This book was written during coronavirus. So encoded within the virus is its own vaccine. This is the gift concealed within the disease that not only helps us to heal the disease, but heals us all. Many people do not want to look at the darker, shadowy aspects of society, but this virus may be the seed that relieves the cognitive dissonance. The key for us is to transmute our low vibe emotions like fear, embrace our hearts, engage in the nature of the mind, and operate from the quantum level of the mind. Remember, say this in my book. The path is the medicine. And when we do our work to heal our shadow, we heal the collective shadow of humanity, exposed with Wetiko and the egoic mind virus. So closing details, just about to finish here, guys. This psycho-spiritual mind virus, Wetiko, is feeding off us through our repressed emotions and fragmented psyche. We are essentially living in a dream-like reality, and our lack of shadow integration leaves us in an unconscious state. This is Wetiko's food. So like when you guys are feeling a low vibrational emotion, like step outside of yourself and observe yourself and go, wow, I'm creating food for Wetiko right now. It's like, it's kind of like, it's a funny childlike way of looking at it. You know, you gotta have fun with this, right? Wow, I'm just food today. I'm living in this fear vibration. In order to awaken from this unconscious reality, we must integrate our shadow, repressed and suppressed emotions, so we can bring light to our inner darkness. This will allow tremendous energy to be freed up to manifest a new reality. What this means is all that energy, this is why I love teaching shadow work, and it's so healing, is that all that energy, you're suppressing your emotions. I can't feel it. Oh, I can't. Oh, the shame. I can't feel it. How much energy you're wasting? Energy where you can be making money, having better sex, having like your whatever dreams you wish to accomplish, and you're like, no, I can't. Like your jing. We talk about your essence. You are wasting so much energy. And when you finally integrate your shadow, like, oh, all that energy back. Wow, now my body's healing. That's why shadow work is one of the most healing things you could possibly do in this lifetime. This all comes back to operating from the quantum level of infinite consciousness, which we will talk about consistently in this program. Please join us for anybody who's not yet part of the program. And just a reminder, get the Shadow Awakening video course for only $121. So like we normally charge $500 for this. I'm cutting down the price just for people in this group. If you want to get access to it, I'm going to put the access code up in the group chat here once I finish, because I can't use my mouse up there yet. But it's 8 video course teaching the entire process of shadow work. I got tons of people who've already done this and it's changed their lives. It can also be used with my book. Okay. I'll put the link in the chat box, and it's not going to be shared with people who are watching the recording. You got to reach out to me if you want to get access to it. Now, I want to thank you all for joining the call. Please get involved with the community. If you need support, if you're watching this video later and you're like, man, I really could use a community to support me on my healing journey, please contact me. Join the Alchemy Healing Academy. We have the price structure set up, so it's like you can join the academy for $90 a month, $60 a month, or $30 a month if you're really struggling financially. I will not accept your money wound. I will not accept it. Okay. Speaking of your money wound, we have the Shadow Money Workshop coming up 25th of November. If you're watching this video, please check that out. And that, if you're in the academy, you also get access to the recording of that. I will not be sharing that recording. Only people in the community. This video we're going to share with everybody because people need to know this wisdom, you guys. And our next call for next month, we're going to be going over the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. So please join the group. Please tell more people about this. As you can tell, I love teaching this stuff, and the whole goal is to build a tribe. We face Wetiko. We operate from that vibrational frequency of love. We heal the planet, and then we go dance naked in the woods. How does that sound, everybody? All right.
Sounds great.
There. Let me stop the recording. Thank you all. Raise the roof one more time.